Brothers of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And I hope you all are very, very well. Let's see. If you're listening in on YouTube, make sure you do hit that thumbs up button if you like the show. Subscribe if you want to get it put into your playlist, and then the bell, of course, if you want to know when I go live or have a new episode. No matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hello, either in the chats or send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. If you want to support the show, please do so. You can do that at etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio, MTN for mountain, or you can go to patreon.com/the spaces between. And no matter how you are listening, make sure you go to www.ialife.com to check out iAlife, the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. Good stuff, all. Good stuff. Let's see here. What do we got going on? The call line is open, of course. That number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. And it looks like, who do we have in the chat rooms? Yeah, Lucky, Ken, Gemini, Dawn, Boy Solo. Also, Aussie Tiger, Cookie, Jarvis, Elaine, Justin, Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Titan, Up, and Lucky's in here too, and YTFP, Chris. So I hope you are all having a lovely day. Elaine, Justin. Okay, yeah. I think I got everybody. And as I get to talking, you know what? I often lose track of what I'm doing, and I forget to say hello to people who are coming in later. The late arrivals. It happens. Yeah, the world is an adventurous place these days, I gotta tell you. I never know what to expect when I check the headlines, honestly. It is just bizarre. Speaking of bizarre, yeah, you know. So generally speaking, I try not to talk about the the coronavirus right now, the COVID-19, whatever's going on. And mostly because it's a bug, it's a virus, it's real, it's out there. People are dealing with it, and you know what? It's a real thing. I got to tell you. And if you are someone who tends to get sick, you should probably, be aware, take care of yourself. By all means, wash your hands. You should have been doing that anyways. I don't know why people keep selling out of soap, because we should have been washing our hands the entire time. But that's an entirely different conversation. But there came across an article in The Independent, which is out of the UK, and there is been a rise, or there could be a rise, of witchcraft accusations against children and vulnerable people because of witchcraft, or because of the coronavirus outbreak. And there are some concerns that victims will be abused by certain believers who blame them for illness or misfortune. So unscrupulous faith leaders might exploit people's fears by performing potentially dangerous exorcisms or offering fake cures due to the coronavirus. Basically, there are certain people out there, and by the way, there are extremists in any religion, in any walk of life, and it doesn't matter if you're pagan or Catholic or Jewish, Islamic, Buddhist, etc. There are people who are extremists in their thought processes and their beliefs all over the world. And it's those extremists that tend to give the more mainstream people a bad name or the bad reputation. And it's unfortunate because those are the ones who make the news more often than anything else. And so they tend to end up representing, if you will, that entire religion or faith. And it's unfortunate because that's not the way most of them are. It's just the loudest ones, the most extroverted ones. And these are the people who throughout mankind's history are the ones who, if something sticks out, they point at it and say this is evil and is caused by X evil, And so, yeah, there's people out there who are firmly convinced that the coronavirus is a result of witchcraft, or it's a curse by God, and you can pretty much put whatever deity you want in place of God, and that those people who end up being sick have either been cursed by someone else or are doing the cursing and spreading the pestilence around. And it's unfortunate because those who believe in witchcraft and possession in countries around the world often look at those who are ill or those who are slightly different than everyone else, and they're pointed at, ostracized, treated poorly, and yeah, so there may be abuse because physical abuse happens when people are trying to perform an exorcism on those that are not actually possessed. It's happened. Emotional abuse, mental abuse, it all happens. So just as we are going through this current cycle of insanity, just be aware that people get sick. It's okay. Just try to treat people the best you can, the way you would like to be treated. And just take that deep cleansing breath that we really need to be doing. Some of you are doing it with a mask. Some of you are doing it somewhere else. But wash your hands and such, and just be safe. And try not to judge people too harshly because they're a little bit different. Seriously. And if someone is sick in your area and you are able to help them in some way, shape, or form, please do so. But do it safely. And understand that not all mainstream media, if you will, is representative of real life. And they often do use the headlines that are most likely to get the attention and the subscribers, the clicks, the views, etc., etc., etc. So, anyways, deep cleansing breath. Wash your hands. Seriously. Burn some sage. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial. Yeah. So, anyways, that was just an article I came across in the Independent that, witchcraft is people are being blamed for things that are just insane. So, yeah. I just don't get it. Don't get it. But on a different note. Moving on. Healing is a thing that we all need to do from time to time. Sometimes we fall down and go bump and we get a bruise and that needs to heal. Sometimes we break something because it happens, unfortunately. And other times, well, you know what? We have gotten hurt emotionally, physically, mentally, psychically. And there is another healing needs to be done. And people who do healing as a pagan or a witch often come at it from a different viewpoint or a different perspective than many of our contemporary Western medicine type peoples. And so I wanted to talk about it just a little bit. I had some experiences myself. So I work in an esoteric shop, and we have a lot of crystals and rocks around all the time, and it's just a glorious place to work. We have this big heart earth stone. It's a heart stone because it's quartz with rose quartz growing through the quartz crystal itself. The main crystal point is about 4.5 to 5 feet tall, and it's beautiful. I can't wrap my arms around it completely, and I'm 5'9", guys, so I'm not exactly short. And it's sitting on a little pedestal, of course, and so it's right about eye level with me, the top of it. And it's this awesome piece, and it's from I believe it was Brazil is where it's found, and there's a companion crystal point that was found at the same time that's in, I believe, the Smithsonian, and yeah, it's just this glorious thing, and it's very healing. We have people who come into the store all the time just to touch it, just to commune with the stone itself. I know when I'm having a bad day or just need a moment, I'll give the thing a hug because, oh my gosh, the energy in that thing is lovely. But so stones, we got lots of them everywhere, and I carry quite a few in my pocket. Generally quartz, rose quartz, tourmaline, the blue lace agate, amethyst, and a whole bunch of different things in my pockets at any given time. And periodically, I will have something in my pocket that I don't always have, because I keep a lot of my favorite stones in my jewelry box. And I take some of them and I take them, to work, and I'll pick them up. And sometimes I just have this urge to carry extra stones that I don't normally carry. And so here, oh gosh, it's been about 8 weeks ago. I'm at work. It's kind of a slow moment, and we had this lady come into the store. It was, everybody was masking up because, that's what we're doing. And she had kind of a pale tone to her skin. I mean, not just like, oh, she's been inside for the last 6 months, but more like she was ill. And we do have a hospital locally with a really good, affiliated with the local cancer center down in Coeur d'Alene. And anyway, she was in for cancer treatment, and didn't know that until after we'd chatted for just a little bit. And she was just looking for something to help with healing. And we have a lot of people who come into the store looking for stones to help them on their journey, touchstones, stress stones, or just things to help them heal from whatever trauma it is. And in talking to her, she's like, what do I need to do? What is it that I need to help me? And she started off, it's like, generally my biggest advice is, what calls to you when it comes to stones or crystals to carry in your pocket, because there's a lot of things that we feel compelled to pick up and put in our pocket or carry with us or purchase or just have around us that we don't always understand why. We just need it. So, I mean, seriously, we just need it. And I mean, I've walked in and I was like, I just need something green today, guys. And I end up with malachite. So, um, or moldavite. Love moldavite. Anyway, so I happened to put a snowflake obsidian in my pocket on this particular day, and something I hadn't been carrying a lot lately because I just didn't feel I needed to. And but that morning, it's like, nope, I need to, I need to pick it up. I need to take it with me. And I in talking to her, we did some research because we have a couple of resource books. And it's like, what is it that this particular individual needs for her breast cancer that she was, dealing with and going through the chemo for? And she was really stressed. She doesn't have anybody close by as far as living relatives to help her, so she was really reliant upon the system, if you will, to give her the care that she needs and make sure that she stays healthy. And in doing the research, snowflake obsidian is one of those stones that can help in the healing when it comes to being treated for breast cancer. And because of the coronavirus, our store is currently dealing with some stone shortages because people who ship things were also dealing with the shutdown. And it's just one of those things. I felt compelled to give this individual the stone that I had in my pocket because she needed it. In a lot of the stones I have at any one point, some have been given to me, some I purchase, and sometimes I have something that I just feel compelled to pass on to someone else, and this is one of those times. And by golly, she gave me the biggest hug, and it was awesome. Because she didn't have anybody local to help her in any way, shape, or form. And here it was something that, you know, I just gave her because I needed to. And she needed that little bit of extra healing from this particular stone. And she's doing okay. She's going through the process because, cancer treatment is a process. And I hope she comes back in, and especially as the virus stress eases and the people getting sick decreases and such. So I hope it really helps her. Yesterday I had another experience. I generally carry a blue lace agate in my pocket. Love my blue lace. I do believe Deb gave it to me. And it's one that's good for joint pain. And this gal came in, a super sweet gal, maybe 20, just this tiny little bitty thing, and she's on her own physical health journey, just like a lot of us are. And she was looking for things to help her with her healing. She's been dealing with some devastating migraines. And I got out the research book again. It was great. I don't remember the name of it, or else I would tell you. But basically, you can go through a list of physical ailments and just what stones can help. And blue lace agate is one of those things that's supposed to be really good for, physical pain. Like headaches and migraines and such, in addition to arthritis. But in talking to her, all I could think is I have this friend that has Chiari malformation, and you should probably talk to your doctor about that. And it's not something it's not a direction I would have gone to, because Chiari is a really big deal when it comes to diseases that one must deal with, and it's a very painful journey, very, very painful thing to work or figure out how to manage. I hope she follows up with her doctor, but again, after she had purchased the stones that she selected, because in talking, okay, back up a little bit, in talking to her, after talking about Chiari and such, and I go, we all carry stones in our pocket here of some sort. Either we're wearing them. Yesterday I was wearing an opal. Yeah, opal today. It's tiger's eye. And I said, see, I've got these in my pocket. And I pull out What was it? The blue lace agate, quartz point, rose quartz. Oh, my busy stone that she gave me. I have no idea what it is. Um, let's see, what else was there? A tourmaline and such. So I mean, it's like half a dozen different things at least. And um, as I pulled them out of my pocket, this blue lace agate, I'm holding my hands flat. It literally jumped out of my hand and hit the counter, rolled off the counter, and fell between the counter and the cabinet. And it's like, well, shoot, how am I supposed to get this thing out? So here I am trying to fish it out with a little pokey stick that we had. And finally I get it out, and it's just covered with dust bunnies, because it's not always the easiest place to dust, and I get that. Oh, it's cleaner now. And I dust it off, and I'm polishing it with our polishing cloth, and I happen to glance over, and my coworker is getting out our little information cards that we sometimes provide with the stones, to kind of tell you what chakra it goes with, where the stone was found, and just what some of the benefits are to the different stones if someone is needing that information. And happen to glance down, and by golly, we've got it's a drawer. Oh, it's probably 8.5 by 20 roughly inches, and just full of little information cards that we give out, and they're alphabetical. I glanced down, and right there it just happened to fall open to blue lace agate, and by golly, that 2 by 2 or 2 times 2, it's very true. And I had to give the card to her, or the stone to her. So I pulled the card, and after she finished her purchase and everything was bagged up, she's getting ready to go. It's like, all right, this is for you. And I gave it to her, and holy cow, another person that just about started crying. And I feel bad because these people are crying, but at the same time, it's not because they're crying because they're in pain or something like that. It's more an acknowledgement that someone else is seeing their pain, or what the thing they're dealing with, and that it is something that can be overcome, and trying to give them a little bit of help. And because so often we get wrapped up in our day-to-day stuff, and it's hard to share the things that we're dealing with, especially the negative stuff. Not always, but generally. And we internalize it because it's our thing to deal with. We don't want to burden someone else or deal with the judgment from others. You open up just a little bit, and someone's able to help, and it's just this really good feeling. It really is. And I don't know. It's the little things like that. Sometimes, it's sharing a stone, because that's a thing. And sometimes it's just a hug. Sometimes it's just, acknowledging that someone is there, and listening and hearing that there is there is someone out there trying to help, or willing to help, from a slightly different perspective, than traditional medicine, or contemporary medicine, I should say, rather than traditional medicine. So yeah. So it's just some personal experiences with rocks. Today, had a gal come into the office, got to chatting, and she just, again, her aura was kind of not as clear, and just basically reach out and touch someone and read her aura just a little bit, and I just straight up told her that everything will be okay. This too shall pass, and without even knowing what's going on, I knew that there was something that she needed to be told, that it was going to be okay. And the tears of gratitude that someone is just able to see that there is something going on, without even asking what it is, and asking for information or judging you or anything like that. Just saying, you know what, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here for you. That's so powerful, and I wish more people would do that. And I think the world would be a better place if more people were to just do that. So yeah. Anyways, we're just about to our first break. I do have the bowl today, so at the top of the hour, I'll play the bowl again because yeah, I love the bowl. And if you have stones and you've given them away or they're missing, sometimes you know it's frustrating because these things are missing, but they'll come back when you need them, or a new one will show up when you need it. And sometimes you do just have to go to the rock shop and go buy another one. By golly, Moldavite's kind of that way. It likes to run away. So, anyways, we'll be right back. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. And just to remind you, the call line is open tonight. That is 213-233-3998. And if for some reason you call in and I don't notice you right away, I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to ignore you. I promise. And mention something in chat. Maybe. So tonight we're talking a little bit about healing and kind of from a pagan perspective, because that's what we're here for. And so there's a couple of different ways to go about healing on the pagan side. And the information I have here is from wildhunt.org. And, there's a lot of plant remedies out there. And I mean, pretty much, I personally believe that anything that might cause illness to us, we have the cure growing somewhere on the earth. Now, do we necessarily know what that thing is? No, not really. No, not. Because a lot of them, the cures may not be known to everybody. It may be a regional thing, and only certain regional people know about it or knew about it. And since a lot of the natural medicine kind of got shoved off into the corner for the longest time, and is only kind of making making a resurgence nowadays. A lot of the naturopaths are becoming more prevalent. Even insurance is starting to cover some of those fees, here in the U.S. at least. Not in every place, of course, because not here in Idaho. But a lot of those alternative remedies or Eastern medicine, not all of them, but a lot of them, really do have a real effect when it comes to treating illnesses and different things that may be going wrong with our bodies. And by all means, check them out. Do your research, of course, just like I tell you for everything else. But there's something to that those alternative ways of healing. Just whether it's using stones or crystals or Reiki or the traditional healing from the Eastern nations, the Eastern healing, the tribal medicine, all of that. There's real value to it, real importance. So, touch base with your local communities. What other ways of healing are there? I mean, a lot of it is, there's truth to it. And just scientifically, like I've mentioned earlier, sage is an accepted thing to help cleanse your air, not just of, negative energy, but of, bugs and things you don't want to get sick with. So, but plant life, if you have an apothecary, Sam was on the show. It's been a couple weeks now. He is an apothecist. Is it an apothecist? Apothecarist? Apothecist. Anyways, he had an apothecary. and he sells a lot of stuff online. And there's Sam's Apothecary is the name of it. And you know what? Those traditional medicines from plants around the world are very good. Check them out. Do make sure you let your doctor know, because a lot of your naturopathic type apothecary things that you might use to help heal you or mend what's wrong. Dawn is over there stabbing a plate. They all sometimes have interactions with other drugs or things that you may be taking. So yeah, don't. For instance, beets are really good for blood pressure. And if you don't let your doctor know, your doctor puts you on blood pressure medication, it can really cause a an issue with your blood pressure drop. So just be aware. Um, let's see. Dee wants to know what's name your favorite medicinal plant next to cannabis. Honestly, right now, horsetail fern is one that I like. It's good for inflammation. I have a lot of it grow here locally, and it's something you can drink in a tea. It goes really good with chamomile or mint, and is it an apothecarist? According to Bomber, thank you. So, yeah, just the horsetail fern is excellent. And then, other than that, mint. I love mint, sage, bergamot's good. Yes, yes, yes. So, anyways, moving on. Different ways from a pagan or witch perspective that you can use to help you heal. Right, first one, light some incense, honestly. It's a good way to clear out or neutralize bad energies. It's tied very closely to the element of air. And the theory here is that the smoke gets into all to the nooks and crannies to draw out the bad energies and push them out. And then, oh, hold on. There's no light over here, so I can't see what I'm doing.
Turn the light on, you silly goose.
Oh, it's your light. But incense smoke can be fanned onto a person or onto items that may have a negative energy to them or negative associations. Places which might have bad energies or bad memories. It's just a very purifying and cleansing. And burning incense is a practice that's been observed in cultures all over the world for thousands of years. Incense has often been used as an offering to pretty much every deity in the history of ever. Some form of incense, honestly. Even if it's, pine pitch to sage to frankincense and myrrh. Yep, it's just pretty much, in the history of ever. The First Nations often use so smudging itself, that word is generally associated with First Nation practices with sage or sweetgrass. Now, mugwort can be used, but it's called, we all call it smudging, but smoking, I guess it would be another word.
Burning. Yeah,
burning some sage. Anyways, mugwort's good. It's something you can get. Yeah. So, do your research. What do you like? I personally don't like anything with patchouli.
Nope.
It gives me a flash headache like nobody's business. The more artificial the smell is, the worse the headache. Natural patchouli is something I can handle in little doses.
Nope.
Little doses.
Nope.
Personally, I prefer orange and mint. Ritual baths are an excellent thing for having an ongoing and simple healing practice. And I've mentioned this on more than one occasion. Cleansing shower, wash your hands, that kind of thing. Yes, washing your hands, even the Bible mentions washing their hands. When Pontius Pilate condemns Christ to be hung on the cross, he says he washes his hands of this thing, and because it's the people's choice, and it's not something that he would have done. He's literally, I'm done with this. This is not my gig, not my jam, not my thing. And healing baths or ritual baths are, self-care, 100%. And it's just a little bit of magic thrown in. Make sure you're setting your intention that, hey, I'm taking the shower not just to get rid of the dirt and the uck, but I'm getting rid of the negative energy as well. I'm washing that down the drain and away. You can put, some people put, various plant leaves. You can hang eucalyptus leaves in your shower to help with the energy. Mint, you can do the same thing. Lemon balm. any of those plants that you can have hanging in your shower. And once the steam in your shower hits the plant, it releases some of those the energy from the plant and the essential oils. You can make everybody talks about bath bombs, the exploding pebbles of whatever that the kids love, and I wear rings occasionally that came out of a bath bomb. It's just a fun thing. But you can also make shower bombs. Shower bombs are basically like a little tablet instead of a ball of something, and it's got the essential oils that you just leave in the bottom of your shower, so as the hot water hits it, it melts the oils and releases the fragrances into your air, so it helps with the cleansing. In a ritual bath, if you have things that you want to include, you can put them in a sachet of some sort. If you have cheesecloth or my grandma always called them tea towels, but the dense flour sack type towel, and you can put different things in that. You tie it up so it creates a little pouch, and you drop that into your water, so you can have your crystals in there. And if you have different crystals that you want to incorporate into your bath water. Now, side note on that, big side note. There are some crystals and stones that should not encounter water. They will melt. Think of sulfur and water. Bad combination. So, just be aware, do your research, make sure that the stone that you want to put into the water is not going to kill you the moment it does. Bumblebee jasper, for instance, has cyanide and sulfur in it. You put it in the water, you're going to kill yourself.
Well.
Or at least make yourself really sick. And I don't recommend that. So, yeah. Be aware of what you're doing. But a lot of those crystals and such, you can have them around instead of in the water. You can, I don't know, I like to have coffee beans in my bathroom occasionally because, coffee beans help cleanse the air, and they smell good too. But you can have, you can have one of those little stress trays, with the sand and such in it. Write your intention for your shower and the sand. Leave it in the bathroom. Put some seashells in there, a little candle, that kind of thing. Whatever it is that makes you feel good, helps you feel good. And if you put like carrier oil of some sort, like coconut oil or jojoba or something like that in your bath water, it's good for your skin too, as you're taking those baths, or CBD oil. Yeah, those are good things. Do them. Because that self-care that you might get out of a ritual bath, it's just good for you. It helps reset your own personal energy, because remember, we can't pour from an empty cup. If there's nothing in the cup, nothing's coming out. And if you are spending so much energy helping other people and not taking care of yourself, you're eventually going to burn out and get sick, and then someone will have to help you. So take care of yourself. Burning things is kind of a fun thing among pagans. Actually, people like to burn things in general. A lot of us like campfires, bonfires, that kind of thing. So
controlled fires.
Yeah, controlled fires. I'm not telling you to light the world on fire. Tempting some days, but no. Have just like a ritual bath, a ritual fire is good, because fire can be very, very cleansing. A lot of Squirrel. Lucky says she's a spiritual pyro. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, no burning down the houses. It's not that kind of party, guys. So, fire is very cleansing. So here in the Pacific Northwest, every so often we do have forest fires, and they happen, unfortunately. They also renew the ground. Think that ash can is good for the soil. It gives new energy to the soil. And there are certain trees here that the pine cones don't actually release the seeds to sprout new trees without reaching a certain temperature. So they have to have the intense heat from a forest fire to get the new growth. So cleansing fire, it is real. Fires just generally has been very cleansing. In in the past and even sometimes today, needles have been and blades have been heated in the fire to cleanse them prior to being used. Boiled works also, but fire was used long before boiling water because, yeah, it's not always easy to boil water over an open campfire if someone's pulling an arrow out of them, for instance. And fire is often a way to commune with the divine, like giving an offering or sacrifice. Around the world has been burnt. Pretty much almost every religion in the history of ever has sacrificed something in a fire to a deity. Pretty much, yeah. And I gotta tell you, I like just sitting next to a fire. It's soothing, it's relaxing, it's peaceful. And a little campfire, especially after, having the s'mores and just chilling out. But you can also deal with trauma in some ways with the fire. I mean, you can put different herbs on your campfire or a ritual fire in like your cauldron, and so that smoke is able to be inhaled. What do I have drying? I have wild lettuce is one of those things, but other than that, you can write down whatever it is that's bothering you. You fold it up, you throw it in the fire. You're setting your intention. I'm getting rid of this. I'm burning it away. That helps. Anybody who's ever been through a messy breakup, sometimes burning the other is sometimes burning the other person's stuff.
It's called burning an effigy.
Yeah, is very cathartic. But whatever you're throwing into the fire, make sure that it doesn't have like rubber or plastic or other things that could harm you, especially if you're there breathing in the smoke, because those are bad. But yeah, it's very easy to do just some meditation around fire, to focus on the fire. And some people do
dancing skyclad around the fire.
Yeah, you can dance skyclad around the fires if that's your gig. Be careful of the mosquitoes. You don't want to bite there. Trust me. Let's see. Now you can bury some of that stuff if you don't want to burn it, but burning is just you're burning the thing. The smoke is taking it out into the air. And let's see. It just like you're releasing something into the air. You think of
I'm sitting right here. You're not giving me
I know.
clues.
Like if someone passes, you're burning them on a pyre. You're releasing their energy or their spirit from their body into the air, so they can move on to the afterlife. So it's that is one way. Just the burning the actual body. If that's not an option, like today's society, generally speaking, doesn't allow you to build a big bonfire in the backyard to burn Great Aunt Matilda. You may just have to have a regular funeral for her, but if you loved her and you want to do something symbolic, you can do that symbolic, like with pictures or just having a symbolic funeral pyre. It's a thing. Let's see. Now, if someone is, has done something to hurt you, or you've leaving a bad relationship, yes, you could use a poppet on a fire, but I don't generally recommend that because the consequences may not be what you intended. So just be aware. Make sure you're setting your intention before you do the thing. I mention that often. And do your meditation before you set your intention to do the thing, to make sure this is really what you need. Don't, go burn your ex's stuff because you're mad because you caught your ex doing something that your ex shouldn't have been doing because your BFF said you should do it, because if it doesn't feel right to you, you shouldn't do it. Don't allow peer pressure to force you into something, regardless of what it is. Visualization is another really great healing tool. It's one that's often used with shadow work. You're visualizing the thing. And it's really good with trauma and coping with trauma, like and depression, anxiety, that kind of thing. Because a lot of people who go through a thing, whatever it is, you might struggle with thoughts, memories, negative self-talk, negative beliefs. You're conditioned to believe these things that are really negative. Flashbacks, all of that's real. Think PTSD. And once, your priest, your priestess, your therapist, whomever understands that that's what you're dealing with, it's that visualization is a really good tool to disrupt those thoughts and feelings. And remember, therapy's real. Therapy's good. I'm not going to say don't ever do it, because you should if you need to. And if you think you might, you probably should. But using therapy and visualization, they're tools that help identify the things that are coming up as they arise that are causing you to go back to that negative place that you experienced. Whether it's, you were hurt, or you experienced someone hurting, or something like that. And that if you get into that thought pattern of, I'm using the word wallow, even though I'm not trying to be negative about it, but wallowing in that negative self-talk. I know it can happen. I've done it myself. And sometimes you just have to do it. But you have to come out of it too. But if you get into that spot where you just can't get rid of that negative self-talk, and sometimes you need a touchstone or something to remind you that that's not who you are. Not really. It's that negative thing that happened to you, and it's just on repeat. And if you have a touchstone, it's like, nope, I'm going to stop thinking about this because it isn't my thing. That's not who I really am. I'm going to think about something else instead. And so whether you've gone through like hypnotherapy, which is good, Judge and Sindel over in Spokane, awesome. And that way of changing your thought process, instead of making a getting stuck in the rut, you're able to get out of it. Often, a basic visualization of a white healing light illuminating you or engulfing you when you're going through one of those negative moments, it's just really powerful and helps you step out of the rut and get back onto when or where you need to be. Because it's that white light in general is considered very healing. It's peaceful. It's a place of love, and you may actually experience that white light scrubbing away the black spots of trauma that have been left upon you. And it's not necessarily a actual visual mark on you. Sometimes it's a mental mark, mental pain that you're dealing with, mental anguish. Sometimes it's psychic. And using that white energy, of that white healing light, it allows you to accept the healing and kind of put a band-aid over that spot so that it heals and you can move on beyond it. And that visualization, you can do that pretty much anywhere. You can't have a bonfire at your desk in your cubicle at work. I'm sorry.
Sure? Are you sure?
You may be just that angry with Karen sitting next to you and your computer and the IT guy, Bob, who tells you, no, please turn your computer off and then back on again, and let's try this one more time. It's like, no, I've only done that like 16 times, and you just get in that really angry, bad spot, and you're triggered, and you just are in that place where you just want to burn the place down. Don't recommend it. Instead, do the visualization techniques.
So you can visualize burning it down?
If that's what helps you, I'm not going to say it's the right thing, but, if that's really the visualization thing that helps you, then yeah, that's better than setting Karen on fire.
Did you read what Lucky wrote when you said that?
Mm-mm.
She said, haha, Karen, Karen's office cubicle. No, do not light them up.
Lucky had a little chat, or Lucky and I had a little chat earlier today,
No
and
surprise there.
apparently we're on the same page. Yeah, that's funny. Um, but yeah, visualization can be done anywhere. Set your intention prior to doing it. Yes, cashew. And yeah, so white light is generally used as far as a way to draw you out of that negative place. Naysay, is there any color that brings you positive thoughts? Can it help you pull out of negativity?
Sure.
And yeah, if for some reason you associate white light with the trauma, you know what? That's probably not the right thing to visualize. Maybe it's green or blue or purple, because there's different things that are going to help you with that focus to be.
I
Oh, let's break. Holy cow, that was quick.
know
We'll be right back. We'll
and
talk
we
about
will
visualization.
see the spell forever done.
Oh,
Thank you, Chris. Yeah. So, shh.
okay, 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 okay.
I love my bowl. It's an awesome bowl. No, this, I don't know. I'm sh, and that's the problem. I'm sh too much. So, let's check this real quick. Nope, those are all there. So I don't know. Did you guys get? Oh, many yes. So many musings. That was the singing bowl that I got. So yeah, lots of sound. You guys should have heard it. Um, sorry about that. Yeah, improving my. Yes. Yeah, not everybody. So many musings with the singing bowl. Not every note connects with every person. We have one at work. It's a B, I believe, and I cannot get that plastic thing to make any noise whatsoever. It's the most frustrating bowl in the shop, and it doesn't matter which mallet I use or anything like that. Yeah. So, anyways, it's both Lunasa and Llamas, and so depending on where you are in the world, I hope you have a safe and fun celebration of the holiday. Yes, and yeah, Titan. See, Titan likes the bowl. Many musings doesn't. So, it's just it.
It doesn't resonate with everyone.
But that's correct. So we were talking about healing stuff, and we were at visualizations, and because visualization is something you can do anywhere. You can even use visualization when you're driving down the road, and the idiot cuts you off as he's changing lanes and not paying attention, because that happened to me 3 times yesterday on my way home. It was quite vexing, very, very vexing. But just the way some people drive. So yeah, just the visualization can really disrupt that negative thought process, or those things that you are dealing with in your healing process. So I'm sorry, Manny. I know, like, for me, the very first time I heard a singing bowl, it felt like my reality shifted. Yeah. It was very, very bizarre. So singing bowls have a pretty significant energy to them. So the next thing recommended for healing on the pagan path is just being out in nature. I mean, how often do we feel icky and we just get stuck in the house? We can't go outside. We're just miserable, and then we get frustrated and we go outside, sit in the sun, and feel so much better. Seriously, just being outside helps us. Whether it's grounding because our feet are in the dirt, because that's a real thing. It's just a really great way to tap into the healing of the earth and the world around us. They've done studies again, because that's what they do. The proverbial they, where it helps with depression and anxiety and a few other mental illnesses. Just gardening, putting your hands in the dirt. You may not be able to grow much more than weeds, and that's okay, but just the actual, being out in nature and experiencing dirt is good for you. Is very soothing, and it's relaxing. The turning of dirt and the working of the earth. And then if you're able to go out and hike or walk out in your park or your wooded areas, listen to the sound of the birds singing in the trees, the chipmunks and the squirrels talking to each other, the neighbor's dog barking, because that's what they do. And just even the sound of your own footsteps on the ground, or in the feel and the sound of branches as they pass, as you pass them by and they drag against you. All of that's very tactile and very sensory. And if you're just, sometimes we just need a physical activity to help us. If you're having a hard time sleeping, be more physically active. It should help you sleep and help you rest, just because your body is exhausted. But if you've ever gone for a run, there's a runner's high is a real thing. That dopamine, is that the right chemical that gets released? Okay. It released into you, and it makes you just feel better. So that could be running or swimming or hiking or any of that. You can get some of that same high, that same energy from just going outside and working out some of your tension. Just, I gotta tell you, being outside just is relaxing. There's nothing like feeling the wind on your face, and the heat of the sun, and smelling the earth and the wet grass and leaves, and hearing the birds and such. It's just soothing and peaceful and relaxing. It's just, being outside can help you on the healing process, because, and remember, it is a process. It's not a straight line. It's not, you're taking a step forward every day or every little bit. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Sometimes you can go 10 steps forward and you stay there. So just, healing is not a straight line. It's a journey, and it takes a little bit. And a way to work with healing is, oddly, body modification. That's waiting for Dawn to give me that look. Well, so in some societies, the loss of a loved one, for instance, as a sign of grief, you cut your hair. Or a sign of mourning is you cut your hair.
I wouldn't call that body modification, technically.
You're modifying what you look like, and your
right.
physical appearance. So it's a really simple thing. I know that a lot of people, when they're feeling the winter stress and stuff, and they're really ready to move on, they'll go get a haircut. That's why so many people who go into the fall with longer hair and no bangs,
They end up doing a Britney Spears.
Yeah, or some variation thereof in the spring. It happens. So yeah, ritual haircutting is a thing. And think of it as a symbolic way of shedding the old and making way for the new. You could also do a body piercing or tattooing. Trying to think of a reason for a body piercing. I don't know. As a way of healing trauma.
Well, I don't know about trauma, but is it
for healing?
What do you get?
The daith piercing in the ear is
Yeah.
good for migraines and headaches. Yeah, I would like to do that, but I haven't found the right person to do that piercing yet. Tattooing actually makes total sense to me when it comes to working through trauma. So think of, you've lost a loved one and you want to memorialize them. It could be you tattoo their name on you or their date of birth. It may be something that they liked, a butterfly or an eagle or a car, I don't know, or a color. Just something like that connects you to whomever that is, or an experience that you went to or went through. How many people have been in the military? They go through a traumatic thing as a unit, and everybody goes out and gets the same tattoo. You're memorializing that thing that you experienced, that trauma that you've gone through and dealt with. a form of body modification that's a little bit more negative is self-harm. You know, if you are
Self-flagellation.
yeah, self-flagellation, self-harm. Um, People do it though to help them deal with trauma and stress. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, because it's not necessarily sanitary and such. But you know, it's something that people do, but because it does release endorphins, and that's part of what you're trying to get, is that high that you could have gotten by running instead of, you know, slicing and dicing yourself. So instead, go for a run, go for a walk. It's a little bit better for you than, you know, self-harm. Or if you start thinking about a tattoo, you know, what tattoo is it that you need that will help you get through? That may be your touchstone for visualizations. Like, I'm in this negative spot, I'm going to touch my tattoo, or I suppose that could be your piercing, to work through it. Shadow work, and I've mentioned shadow work before, or shadow journeying, is a really heavy and intense pagan healing practice. It's they're shamanic, and they generally have to deal with directly facing the trauma and its effects to metamorphically overcome the darkness of what has been done to the spirit. It often involves a lot of difficult reflection on what happened, how it came to be, and how to move forward past it. Therapy is often a form of shadow work, maybe not as intense, and can often be used in conjunction with therapy. Shadow work is not something you should do just on your own. You should have someone with you, someone to guide you, direct you, or someone to just help you, because it's intense, and you may need some extra support in doing it, because it's not just meditative practices. It may be shamanic journeying. It may be consulting with your spirits that you work with, that whether it's your direct spirits that are helping guide you, or it may be the spirits in the world around you. And so it's not an easy thing. I know someone who went through a week. She committed to a week of no speaking, to help her go through some shadow work to get through a traumatic event. And, you know, not talking for a week. Stop and think about it. How much do we say in the course of an hour, and then spread that out over a week? Could you not talk for a week? Could you, Dawn? Not talk for a week?
Do I get like that week off from work?
Sure, hypothetically.
Is this talking to people or just talking to yourself?
Talking out loud. Any conscious vocal activity.
Conscious vocal activity.
Because, you know, sometimes you can't help but subconsciously talk in your sleep.
Oh, well.
So that's different. But yeah, conscious vocal activity.
I don't know. Because I'd probably end up cursing someone anyhow. Like, you know, I'm suffering road rage by pushing a shopping cart through a store, you know.
Exactly. Even going camping, I could hear you yelling at Bigfoot, honestly.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Or the bear that stole your dinner. I don't know.
That'd probably be more. Yogi, get your back here. Yeah, I don't think I could, really.
I think it'd be hard. I just, wow. I would be hard. I don't know. It would be an adventure. I don't think I could do it around other people. Because...
Oh, no. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to be around people at all. I should be around people in the first place.
So, yeah. If that's what you want to do it. But yeah, it's... Ooh, Bomber wrote a song. You should email it to me. So yeah, just remember, you know, whatever it is that you use as a path of healing, whether it's the visualization, the shadow work, body modification, being out in nature, burning things, taking a bath, ritual baths, lighting incense, any of those things. Not everybody's healing path is going to look the same. Honestly, it's not a race. You don't have to get it done by the end of the day or the end of the month. It really, doesn't matter what speed it takes for you, or the time it takes for you to heal, as long as you're on that healing path. Sometimes your path is going to resemble, a direct march. Sometimes you'll be falling backwards down the hill, and sometimes you'll be doing the cha-cha. So just be aware that no amount of healing can be done quickly. Anybody who says, "Oh, I'm so angry at you, and now I'm over it," either they really weren't that angry, or they're not really over it. So don't allow that false healing to happen, because if you say, "Nope, I'm done, I'm moved on, it doesn't bother me anymore," it often means you've shoved it into the back of your head and you're not allowing yourself to acknowledge it. And I gotta tell you, if you shove stuff in the back of your head like that, it can make you sick. If you need to express something and you refuse to do so, enough of that energy will build up into you that it can cause physical illness. And that is the opposite of what needs to happen, honestly. I mean, you're trying to do this to feel better, right? Not worse. So, Mr. Don, what do you think of things that are helpful on the healing path for trauma, drama, insanity, chaos stuff?
Fire.
I know.
Lots of fire. I'm not, yeah. I don't really have anything to say about that. I mean, you mentioned visualization, and Nase brought up colors, and you brought up colors, and you talked about that. Something my uncle told me once. Well, he's kind of happy. He didn't tell me, but I was there when he said it. But he had a horrible motorcycle accident. He was in a coma for like 3 months.
Oh wow.
He went over the roof of this car and ended up getting run over by the car. But he survived that. But he said that whenever he got into some real heavy duty pain after that, he would, visualize, being immersed in a white light, and then as it traveled down his body, it would turn blue to soothe away the pain, the bad energy in those areas that were giving him pain, things like that. Now that's physical pain, of course, but that's what he did, and it worked for him apparently. You talked about natural remedies, plants, things like that. I agree with what you said about any illness that we have on the face of the earth it usually has a natural cure for it, except there are lots of things that are not natural that we come down with, that can't be done that way. So talking about the whole coof thing,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, quinine and zinc, it's the same damn thing, and that's more natural than anything you'll get from any doctor. So there's a lot of good healing techniques, natural, adjusting the way you self-talk, absolutely, and things I've talked about before on this show and in the portal, is talking ourselves into our reality. If you speak it, it happens. You give it resonance, you give it power, you give it the energy to vibrate through the earth, through the air, through the earth, whatever, through you. So that's, I think that's that would that because when I think I'm gonna get sick, I don't even think about it. I'm not gonna get sick. I'm not gonna get sick. This that kind of mantra. So me giving it energy and vibration is what helps me get through those things. Um, so healing stones, things like that. Those are things harder for me to grab onto. Um, but I do wear the quartz and the tourmaline. So copper. Copper actually I believe in as a healer, because of my tendonitis and things like that. I had horrible migratory tendonitis for years, and I started wearing copper bracelets, and it literally just went away. So that's talking about muscular, skeletal, things like that. So yeah, I do believe there's a lot of things out there that don't come from a doctor or big pharma that will ease those pains. And Lucky says I use a positive form of mantra. Yeah. Even just denying it, in my opinion, denying it power is what I should be saying. Right, yeah. So she says, say I am well or I am healthy, as opposed to I'm not sick. But yeah, those are definite things. That's the energy that needs to be used. So, blah, blah, blah.
Well, last night when I was talking about, back to the basics, I mentioned that what you say or what you're looking for is what you're going to find and what you receive. So, yeah, if you're looking or if you're speaking the negative, nope, I'm sick. I'm sick all the time. I hate being sick.
You're going to be
sick.
sick.
Well, you know what? You are going to be sick.
Talking yourself into being sick.
Absolutely. And so you just be aware of the words you say, because the words you say to yourself, regardless if you're saying them laughingly or is sarcasm or trying to say them in a humorous sort of way, your psyche, your emotions don't hear it that way. It's very 2D. And think of inflection as being the third dimension. Instead, it's
like using sarcasm in texts.
Right. Yeah, sarcasm in text doesn't always come through. So yeah, it's very, very 2-dimensional. And if you are saying the negative words, even though it's with a laughing tone, your body is still just hearing the negative words. So, often what you believe in will work. You have to have some sort of belief. Now, personally, I believe that it doesn't matter if you believe in stones or not; they're going to work. Plant and apothecary type solutions to illness and whatnots, they will work even if you don't necessarily believe in them. However, if you believe in a sugar pill, it will work. If the placebo effect, it's a real thing. And it's there's a lot of scientific study behind the placebo effect, but yeah, it's crazy. If you believe in something enough, it will happen. So if you believe that you're going to be hurt or you're going to get sick, you will. That's just all there is to it. And food poisoning, Aussie, or something like that, just maybe don't eat those things anymore. Yeah, Lucky says telepathy has no negatives, or better said would be that telepathy has absolutes. don't spill that will result in a spill. If instead say keep that steady, we'll see it, then it will happen. In other words, if you say I'm not going to get into an accident today, there's a good potential for you to be in an accident. Yeah, I know you believe this because you've said it, Mr. Don. It's like, oh, I don't want to get a ticket today. You'll be like, shut up.
Yep. I've been driving too many cars, and somebody sitting next to me goes, "You better slow down, or else you're gonna get a ticket." Boo, boo. Wow, you just had to say it, did you?
Yep. We're going to break. We'll be right back. On that note.
Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. Oh, hey, Naysay's on the phone. Oh gosh, Naysay, I hope you haven't been holding for a long time. Yes, Naysay has been holding for a long time. One moment, bringing Naysay on. Hello, Naysay, you're on the air.
No, you know, it is such a delight to listen to your voice, as I've told you for evers and evers. But yeah, it's so funny because during the time that I was holding, you went over everything that I utilize for health modalities in the last 20 minutes. And it was just hilarious because I wanted to call about the very first thing that you were talking about and burning sage.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a practitioner or a born again pagan, I utilize the modalities of my Anishinaabe ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, as time progresses, there's nothing more delightful when science will validate what your ancestors have been doing for thousands of years.
Yes.
And that's why I want to bring up smudging. Because when people are sick and they sneeze and they cough, they have wet spittle coming out of their noses and their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
And when you burn sage, the smoke is dry. And so when the wetness of the spittle hits the dryness, then the weight of that drops it to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the common things that were done with my ancestors, is that we burned sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and asema. But what I would like to add to that is, if it is something that doesn't assist you in feeling or thinking or believing positively, then it would be the best to stay away from that thing. So if you're not a fan of patchouli, then, you know, especially if somebody knows that you're not a fan of patchouli and then they come around and they're just sweltering with it.
Yeah, swallowing in it. Yeah.
But I would profess that my blend that has patchouli in it, I bet you would love it, because you can notice it, but you can't. And that's the whole thing about when it's overpowering, that it's like that. One more thing that I wanted to talk about is when I got sick with my Gulf War illness and trying to do what I can to be healthier, I found out that staying away from the doctors was more beneficial to my health than going to the doctors. And so if anyone should be a doctor, it should be yourself, because there's no one that knows better than you. So do your due diligence and do your research of the many modalities out there, because the one thing that I know about the industrial medical complex is that a patient cured is a customer lost.
Unfortunately, yes.
And it's really, you know, and definitely looking into the decalcification of the pineal gland so it can do its optimal performance in releasing all of that giggle juice. Because when those endorphins are sent out to the body, there's that euphoria feeling that you get when you giggle and when you laugh. Even the orgasm is the same thing, and utilizing cannabis. And the last thing I'll go on about cannabis is that practically every cell in your body has cannabinoid receptors. And that's basically using the metaphor of a keyhole, and the cannabis is the key. And it will help you optimally open those portals. But always be careful, because it's not for everybody. You have to do your own discernment. And there is only two forms of dis-ease, I believe, from Dr. Raymond Francis, who just passed. It's toxicity and deficiency. Our cells need basic minerals and vitamins for optimal performance. Once you fulfill those needs, then you look into, or you could, sorry, I don't mean to tell you what to do. May I humbly suggest what to do? That once you fulfill your basic needs of vitamins and minerals, then you look into where are you toxic. And I used to be a fan of getting the hair analysis, but now I'm getting all worried about the collecting of DNA, you know. But if you have the opportunity to get any full screening of ecology done on your blood work, it's also very beneficial to tell you what kind of pollutants you have and what kind of vitamins and minerals you're missing. And water.
Water,
Thank you guys for being a delight.
Thank you,
I'll let you
Nase.
keep going on with your show.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you. Sorry for making you wait, my dear.
Never a challenge.
Thanks, Nase. I hope you have a good evening. So yeah, you know, science is really beginning to explain things, you know, that we as pagans and witches have known for a long time. And in a way, what is science? Well, it's just explained magic. Or what is magic? It's just unexplained science. And I think a lot of the stuff that we encounter or deal with that appears to be magic is just something that we don't necessarily understand. I mean, think about it. If Beethoven encountered an electronic keyboard today, would he feel that it was magic? Probably. He'd probably still write his, what was that song?
Something about his ass.
I know, right?
I know it. I said it before.
Yeah, so basically, you know, he would still probably write something kind of out there. So, yeah, it's just, but yeah, it's just unexplained. Magic is unexplained science. And so as science is going through and researching things that we've known just intuitively for a millennia, you know, it's, in a way, it's taking away the magic of it, but at the same time, it's validating it. So yeah, sage, burning the sage smoke, it's so good for you. I wouldn't necessarily say, you know, you should be, you know, smoking the sage literally, but having that sage smoke in your world, very, very good. And yeah, it pulls a lot of that negative stuff right out of the air. And Nase mentioned, you know, making sure you've got all your vitamins and minerals. And you need to pay attention to that. So if your doctor says, oh, you need to be taking more calcium. All right. So what are you going to do? You're going to go to the store, you're going to get a calcium supplement, or you're going to be prescribed a calcium supplement. Well, a lot of those calcium supplements, it doesn't really matter how much you're taking, because if your vitamin D levels are not correct, your body won't process the calcium.
Well, and honestly, if you look at the way your biology works, a lot of these supplements and things that we take they're not even processed by the body. They're literally pissed out because they're not basically in the right molecular structure. You know, you can drink all the water you want, but there's been a study recently, and Lucky talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think it was H3O2, which is the water that you get from, say, fruits and fruits. And those are the quenching, the one, and that's in the molecular structure that your body actually needs, as opposed to water, H2O2 or H2O. H2O2 is hydrogen peroxide. So you know, and those, like I said, those vitamins that we take, they're not in the right molecular structure, so our body can only absorb so much of it.
Yeah. A lot of calcium is not able to be metabolized. It's just you take too much of it and you're going to end up with kidney stones.
Right.
You don't want that.
Seeds just popped in. Carlton just popped in and said bioavailability and chelated properly. So you also need good gut biology. Yeah, because if your gut can't, if you've got bad what is it, candida? Candida, that the overgrowth of the bad candida can block the processing and the leaching of the nutrients in the food in your gut. Plus that'll just um, candida infection will kill you alone. So so yeah, I mean, your gut is, everything starts in your stomach. So there you go.
So yeah, make sure before you go spending a lot of money on multivitamins and supplements and such, make sure you're on the right ones. A, B, make sure you're taking the complementary vitamins and minerals to make sure that the ones you need to take are also being absorbed. Because yeah, it doesn't matter how much calcium you take, you're not going to absorb it if your vitamin D levels are not correct. Just like with your thyroid hormones, for instance, if you don't have enough iodine in your system, your body won't process the thyroid correctly. And if your body doesn't process the thyroid correctly, your pituitary isn't going to work correctly. So it's all related. It's not just one little piece. It's your body is full of relationships. And sometimes those relationships end and there's a breakup, and that's when you need to change something, or you're sick, or you do need to supplement. So, or just not speaking to each other. You got to reset those relationships. If you've seen the movie Inside Out, okay, it's funny. It's a cartoon. Mini Me loves it, but it's real, kind of. Those inner emotions. Well, think of it as those inner emotions all have relationships with one another, and with the different ways that your body is processing the nutrients that you're bringing in. So, yeah, make sure that you are really taking what you need to take and not just another high-priced pill. And yeah, if there's any way that you can adjust your diet to better fit your health needs, then that's what you should do.
Well, Mary Bond just said she's been taking vitamin D and flaxseed supplements and vitamin C, and her stomach issues have diminished. She also stopped eating bread and cereals. Now, those breads and cereals are all those carbohydrates that break down into sugars that your body can't use, because then it has to be broke down again. But you're removing those things because you're overloading yourself on those horrible types of carbohydrates
and glutens
that are just sticking to everything. I mean, it's just it's horrible. It's like sage glomming on, sage smoke glomming onto your the spittle, like Nase was saying, it's taking that out. It's getting rid of the stuff you need. It's kind of that reverse analogy.
Well, once upon a time, wallpaper was hung using a flour paste. So it was flour and water, and I think there's one other thing in there. But basically, flour and water. So flour and water is used to glue paper to a wall. Just think about what it's doing to your insides.
Well, I used it earlier to make beef gravy to put on top of my hamburger steaks and pierogies.
Okay.
It was pretty smoking awesome.
So yeah, a little bit of flour, that's one thing. But a lot of flour, a lot of gluten, not so good for you. Yes, why TFP, Chris? I agree. Vitamin chocolate is an essential thing.
Vitamin chocolate.
It is in the same category as vitamin coffee. Those are very, very necessary for the day-to-day existence of Paisley.
Why did he just remove it? He was right.
Vitamin coffee is real. I don't know. We agreed with it. I don't know why.
Anyhow.
So that's funny. So yeah, just be aware. The foods you put into your body have a significant effect on your health. And I know that's not very pagan, it's not very witchy, but at the same time,
it is.
It
Think
really
about it. That's
is.
self-care,
It's self-care. Man, if you don't have, Oh, I like it, Lucky.
C squared.
C squared. Yeah, coffee and chocolate. C squared. Yep, vitamin C squared. I love it. Yes.
Oh,
My
boy.
favorite vitamin ever. Oh, that's why. So,
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? We don't grade on spelling here. We read exactly what you meant, so don't worry.
Yep.
Because if we graded on spelling, I'd be in the back of the class all the time.
I don't do a lot of punctuation when I'm doing chat, so I get it. But yeah, so be aware of what you're taking in. A lot of the processed foods in our world today have just so many added things that are not necessary. They have to add preservatives to keep the food from going stale because it's sitting on the shelf. But you know what? A lot of those preservatives taste like crap, so they have to add artificial flavoring.
Yep.
And because the artificial food and the artificial flavoring looks horrible, they have to add artificial coloring. So,
Margarine.
yeah, I think margarine.
Margarine is actually gray. It's like this sick, pussy gray.
Mm-hmm. When it first came out,
It was used for turkey food.
Well, it was first commercially sold to
Right.
people.
They had to dye
It came, the margarine came with a package of dye. You were supposed to mix it together yourself so that
That's
it would look
right.
more like butter. So, just ew. And just think about that. Ew. I mean, a lot of our food, at least here in the U.S., we want our food to look pretty. And we assume pretty food tastes good and is good for you. That's not true.
It's not necessarily true.
Yeah, it's not always true, yeah, because...
Because oysters are pretty food, but darn, they're tasty.
Yes, there's that. And there's other food that isn't necessarily pretty, but does taste pretty doggone good. I make a cupboard stew every so often. Basically, if it's in the cupboard, it might have been the stew. Not always attractive looking, but by golly, it tastes good. So yeah, just be aware. A lot of the food that we eat in at least American society is made to look pretty first and then be edible second.
Last.
Um,
There's a lot of food that can't be sold overseas.
mhm. Yeah, think about that. So, what's the first thing?
Unfortunately, Tang isn't one of them.
Isn't Tang sold everywhere, basically? Okay, I kind of like Tang, so...
It's right next to the poutine.
So...
Hi, Sam.
So, Lucky says rapeseed and corn oil was an oil for machines. So rapeseed is actually canola oil, by the way.
Yes, it is. Because canola sounds so much better than rapeseed oil.
All right. I am highly allergic to the rapeseed flour. Highly allergic. The first time I ever experienced an allergy experience in the... wow, I was 15, 16, something like that. And, yeah, I was riding horses and I rode past a field of these yellow flowers that stunk. And then before I got past the field completely, my nose was plugged up. I got the big puffy face. I didn't quite break out in hives, but wow, I was miserable. I don't know why they named it rapeseed of all things, but that's a different thing.
No idea.
So yeah, it's canola oil is not good for you. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's a lot of things out there that we eat that we just shouldn't. Canola oil is one of them.
Well, Crisco.
Mm-hmm.
Crisco is made from cotton seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a byproduct of the process
Mm-hmm.
of extracting cotton. Or not extracting cotton, but refining cotton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's not called... it should not be called food. It's a food product. Kind of like Velveeta.
Velveeta, yes. It's not cheese, it's a cheese food.
Yeah.
That was a cheese food.
Mm-hmm. So... yeah, I really... when it comes to oils, at least when I'm cooking, I prefer lard. Process our own lard, which is just ground up pig fat that's cooked until the cracklings and oil.
I just did some today.
Coconut oil I use, and then butter.
Butter. Globules of milk fat.
Yeah, but it's good on toast. And fried eggs taste better. So, but yeah, just, be aware of what you're eating. There are some good fats out there, yes, but a lot of those good fats are right on the shelf next to the bad fats.
And the bad fats are usually cheaper.
Mm-hmm. So if you see 2 containers of extra virgin olive oil, and one is twice the cost of the other one, the lower cost one is probably not pure olive oil.
It's a blend.
It's a blend of something. And just, read your labels, peeps. If you can't pronounce the word, do you really want to eat it?
Oh my gosh. Landmark dark chocolate bars. Best candy bar in the world. It's got 5 ingredients, and you can read and understand each and every one of them.
Yeah. If you have the opportunity to take advantage of a farmer's market or an open market of some sort, the farm shares, that kind of thing.
Co-ops.
The co-ops, any of that stuff, do so. Take advantage of them. Are they going to cost a little bit more? Yes, because they're locally grown foods, and often they're much, much better for you. However, if you stop and think about, if you spend a little bit extra money on your groceries over time to get a higher quality ingredient, isn't that cheaper than paying for a heart attack?
A lot of people don't think of it like that. They don't think about, well, if I eat this, for 20 or 30 years, that in 20 or 30 years I'll have a heart attack because I ate this for 20 or 30 years. The short-term gain outweighs the long-term consequence. And I'm guilty of that. I didn't know when I was under 15, I didn't know Mickey D's sucked. Now I know that Mickey D's really sucks, so I go to Burger King. But anyhow, that's beside the point. It's not the point. That's the way I was taught. Oh, and that's another thing. We were talking about this on the portal today. What were we talking about? We were talking about how the things in nature, like, you were talking about natural cures and how we've always known about them, and then we didn't know about them, and then we rediscovered them. We talked about something like this earlier when we were talking about the paranormal with Billy Ray. We were talking about how we knew that there were these supernatural things, but then through our world we've been deprogrammed or reprogrammed to not understand them or not think they're there. And that's the same thing with the natural medicines we've gone through in the last, several thousands of years. Then Big Pharma came along and said, oh, you know what, we'll take care of this because we can extract, the good stuff out of this and the bad stuff out of that, and we'll make it better. And then they just start synthesizing everything off of that, and we were brainwashed into thinking that this is the way to fix things. Well, it's not the way it is. We have we have 2 generations of kids, if not more, 3. I'm going to say, well, yeah, 3 generations of kids, 2.5 of generations of kids that have no clue that medicine originated from vegetation. They have no clue. They think they have to go to a doctor to get well. And all the truth is you just need to drink tonic water with quinine and zinc. You'll be okay.
Elderberry.
No.
Elderberry is good for you.
So anyhow, I digress.
Anyways, just to sum it all up, your healing path is your own. It's not a race to the finish. Take the time you need to heal. That way you've healed completely and you're not just burying something in the back of your head to give you an illness later. Pay attention to what you're eating, and the things you put into not just your body as far as nutrients go, but also the words you're putting into your mind. I've talked about music and lyrics and stuff, but also, or in past shows, because the things you hear are the things that get stuck in your brain. Your brain hears in two dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hear nuance. It doesn't hear humor or sarcasm or anything like that. And so if it's negative words to a good beat and a happy tune, it's still negative words. So, explore your journey, read your labels, and take care of yourselves, you guys. Drink your water, wash your hands, and eat your dark chocolate and drink your coffee. I will see you guys next weekend. So merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. And I hope you guys have a very great week and a happy full moon.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Again.
Would it be the cell forever done?